Mohammed Adamu has ordered full enforcement of the COVID-19 health protection regulations, which was signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari last week. This law now gives the Nigerian police and other agencies of government the powers to implement and prosecute COVID-19 guideline defaulters. The question we intend to ask on today's edition of The People's Voice is, why is it so difficult to obey the COVID-19 guidelines? I am Paul the Magician. Welcome.
All right, if you're asking why it's so difficult to obey COVID-19 guidelines, then probably we'll start by the fact that most Nigerians do not really believe that COVID-19 is here with us. Some are waiting to see, some have not seen victims, and they believe it's the white man's disease. So that's why it seems very, very Herculean to believe I am Zandas, Okeke, Otiba.
Well, it's interesting because regardless of whether you believe or not, police officers have been mandated to target religious centers, target offices and centers like bars, clubs, malls where people gather above the stipulated number of 50. And for you who may go about your business without wearing face masks, you might be arrested and jailed for 6 months.
Yes, it's. I mean, you saw it yesterday. It's already started at the Federal Capital Territory, where 3 major markets, Wuse, UTC, and the mall, have been shut down, and people have been given, is it 1 week, 3 days, 4 days, arrest and detention, depending on what they judge, because it's something that is done in the open, depending on our mood. And,
the mobile court. But the implication is whether it's a 3-day sentence, 6 months sentence, you become an ex-convict by virtue of that
for not wearing face mask.
Yes. So it's much more than just serving the days or paying the fine, because whether or not you pay the fine, if a judge finds you guilty, your name is going down as an ex-convict.
Wow.
So
now I'm taking the message home. I thought it would just go and stay. Maybe if I smile enough, the judge will give me 3 or 4 days, and if I bone, it will give me 6 weeks. So
it's worse.
Oh, it's serious.
It's very serious. And beyond the arrest of defaulters, some state governments are already shutting down government offices. We're learning that the Osun State judge, the chief judge there, decided to shut down all the courts till further notice, because there was the report that the deadlier strain, the B117 strain of COVID-19, was detected in the state. And that strain spreads faster and kills faster as well. And before this shutting down of courts, the state government then, as of last week, already ordered that civil servants should stay at home. Those from grade levels, I don't know how they calculate it, but 12, except for the senior officers. Lagos State already did something similar, but they said that they're going to monitor the situation and insist that government should work from home till February 26th
to see the
how things are playing out.
Now, what would you say about Kogi State? That seems to be a no-go area according to the Presidential Task Force of COVID-19.
So Kogi State, along with some other states like Zamfara, exactly, Zamfara. Basically insist that there's no COVID in their states, and that means they don't have isolation centers or provision of protective equipment for their healthcare workers. And if this is true, it means that the healthcare workers are endangered, because people show up with symptoms of COVID-19 and they perhaps are being treated like they treat malaria and typhoid. All right, which means if people are dying, the report is not going out of the state, because the state is not reporting cases of infection or death by COVID-19. And your guess is as good as mine when this is happening. And reports is, there's no data. And the state government continues to give the people a sense of false safety, that you can go about your business, there's no COVID-19 in the state. It is worrisome.
Yes, it's a danger waiting to explode.
Now, this is where the argument is, skewing, and analysts are trying to analyze how state governments are shutting down offices, state governments are taking measures to keep their civil servants at home, but insisting that schools should open, and markets
should open,
continue doing their business. So it makes states like Kogi to continue to hold on to their belief that there's no COVID-19.
And would you blame them? You can't blame them.
You understand the body language?
Yes.
On one hand, you want business to
thrive. Then you shut down government's business. Private business can thrive. Schools can open.
Yeah.
I mean, churches, religious centers can operate. So who's fooling who?
Okay. So while we're talking about who is fooling who, we intend to hopefully during the course of this conversation speak with the police public relations officer here in Imo State to give us an idea of what the enforcement is going to look like in Imo State. But right now we want to put a call to a newspaper, I think it's Imo Trumpeter reporter, Tochi, who actually did an expose. She went to Imo State University and she did some findings since resumption, the level of compliance there. So we're going to put her on call and speak with her so that we understand in terms of compliance, what our schools are up to at the moment. Hello, Tochi, good morning.
Hello, Paul, good morning.
Okay, you are live on 107.3 Darling FM. And I understand that you actually did a report on the COVID-19 compliance in Imo State University. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so quickly share with us your experience, what you found when you went there.
Okay, as a matter of fact, Imo State University resumed last week, Monday.
Okay.
And when I went there last week, Monday, until yesterday, although a lot of them came to school more yesterday than
last week.
But one thing I spotted was at the entrance of the school gates, there were no measures put in place. There were no booths for hand washing. There were no application as hand sanitizers, and then different sections of the school they were not even prepared. As a matter of fact, they were still cleaning the school compound. That was when they started cleaning the school compound. And that for me, if the school was fumigated and they said students should resume, I think they should have put all these measures in place for them to start. No students were stopped they were not stopped at the gate and asked for their face mask and all of that. Not even until yesterday. So that makes me so worried, and I'm seeing what is happening in Lagos and students resuming and all of that. So I got so very worried.
Okay. Yeah, but Tochi, quickly, beyond the school gate, did you go to probably the various departments to see if
there were nothing there. In the lecture halls, there were nothing there.
When you say nothing, you mean the hand washing?
Yeah, there were no hand washing bowls. There were no hand sanitizers for the students.
And the students, were they wearing face masks?
Few of them, just a handful of them.
And what was the population like?
There were more as at yesterday, but last week when they resumed, it was just a few of them who were in school compound, but they resumed more. A lot of them came to school yesterday.
Were you able to talk to any authority in the school to find out why compliance was not being followed?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I just made my investigations and left.
Okay. Thank you very much, Tochi, of Imo Trumpeter newspaper. All right, so that's a picture of what is happening in the campuses.
Will they say just the fumigation of the campus and probably cleaning is what they've used to sanitize or probably ensure that the Imo State University is COVID-19 free?
Well, if you sanitize and perhaps fumigate, it only takes a few days for for germs to return to those surfaces that you fumigated. The more proactive way is to wear a face mask and use your hand sanitizer.
Yeah, and I'm amazed because even the State Commissioner for Education, while with us here, was it last week?
Yeah,
last week Monday.
Yeah.
When the schools resumed, said the state delayed because they wanted to ensure that everything was in place. So I wouldn't know. It's either he needs to get this information that not everything he talked or he said here on air is in place. At the Imo State University.
Yeah,
that's where it is, and probably other institutions of the state right here.
Okay, well, we're going to now, since that the first question I asked when we started was, why is it so difficult to comply? You understand?
Yeah, but you see, that's another thing. You see, the government wants people to comply, but the government itself is not putting in place things that will make people comply easily. And don't forget, during the APC registration, when 10 governors followed the president to Katsina, the others, the governors were wearing face masks, but Mr. President that signed that law wasn't putting on a face mask.
Right.
And some people are already saying that it was photoshopped to embarrass the president. I don't know which to believe again.
Wow. Okay, if that's the excuse, well, we will accept. But then, we want to see leadership by example.
Example, yes.
Right. We want to see compliance based on those who are meant to enforce the law actually complying with the laws that they have given us. So if you go to government offices, you go to a university under the control of Imo State government, you expect to see compliance.
Yes.
So you as a private businessman, you as a pastor or whatever service you render,
market traders association,
exactly,
in the market.
Yes, we'll, by virtue of seeing what's in place and being executed by the government, we'll follow suit.
You just replicate, and the government is serious about this. Whether you believe it or not, it's something that must be done.
We have to speak with the police public relations officer right now, talking about Okeke Orlando, to find out how they intend to carry out this enforcement, especially because there are so many people that are violating the COVID-19 guidelines at the moment, especially here in Imo State. Let's get him on the line and perhaps learn a thing or two,
yes,
so that we will not be scapegoats.
Yes, because the law doesn't. If I'm alone in my car and I'm not putting on a face mask, I shouldn't be guilty of that law, because the law says it's when you're in gathering. So
right.
I hope those that are going to be enforcing all of these laws know the line not to cross, because some people will just say government has given the law, this is this, and they start harassing people.
Yeah,
this is a civilized society.
It was one of the mandate given to police officers by the Inspector General of Police that while enforcing the law, they cannot afford to abuse human rights or citizens' rights. So yes, we have. Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Paul.
Yes, we believe we are speaking with Orlando Okeke, the police public relations officer of Imo State Police Command.
Yes, you are.
All right, you are live on 107.3 Darling FM. Quickly, we want to find out this mandate given by the Inspector General of Police, demanding that enforcement begin since a law has been signed by Mr. President mandating that we follow COVID-19 guidelines. What is the command here in Imo State up to, and how are you intending to carry out this law?
Well, that directive was passed yesterday, and we have received it. And the Commissioner of Police, CP Nasiru Mohammed, has called for management meeting this morning, where we are going to digest it and then find a way to implement it in totality. The directive has to do, because the COVID-19 directive varies from one state to the other. So the directive is just, you look at the situation in your state based on the executive orders and those states that has actually made it a law by act of the National State House of Assembly. So you look at it according to the provisions of what is peculiar to your state and what is also a directive from the federal government of Nigeria, then you find a way to implement it. So that is
how what we are working on, and I can assure you that we will work in consonance with the directive of His Excellency Senator Hopu Zodima to ensure that all the executive orders of the state government and any other law relating to COVID-19 rules and guidelines is effectively enforced.
What is the penalty for violating the COVID-19 guidelines? Say, for example, not wearing face mask in a public place.
I have not really gotten those are some of the things we are going to study this morning. So to have gotten a directive to start working on it, start enforcing. So those are the things we are going to look at, and our legal department are on that already, because when the governor made the executive order about a few weeks back, the CP ordered the legal officer of the command to swing into action and look at it so he can advise appropriately. And I know that they are working on it presently, and they are going to advise us appropriately this morning.
All right. Are we likely to get the information so that the public is aware of when they are going wrong and where they are right?
Yeah, well, the most important thing, yes, you will get it as soon as I lay my hands on it. It is nothing hidden, but I can tell you that for in the interim, everybody should know that going out without a face mask is against the law presently, and also any gathering that is more than 50 in a place is also against the law. So those are the little ones you can also, that can guide you, that you can also take hold at the tip of your finger, so that at every point in time you try not to be on the wrong side of the law.
Thank you very much, Orlando Okeke, Imo State Command Police Public Relations Officer. Yes. So while we chew on this information, stay tuned. We are going to take some commercials. When we return, we'll find out from you if you are following the COVID-19 guidelines. We would like to know why, and if you're not, we would also like to know why. As an adult, we shouldn't be flogged before we do the right thing. Okay, so this is the People's Voice. Keep it locked here on 107.3 Darling FM. It's 25 minutes past 9. You're tuned to 107.3 Darling FM. Today on The People's Voice, we are taking a look at the directive given by Inspector General of Police Mohammed Adamu, ordering full enforcement of the COVID-19 health protection regulations, which mandates or gives police and security operatives the right to arrest you if you fail to comply with COVID-19 guidelines. Something as basic as putting on your face mask,
wash your hands regularly,
yes,
and just sing the happy birthday song twice,
right,
or sing the national anthem twice.
Failure to do that could make you become an ex-convict. Right.
I like the way you put it, because
so it's not just about the fine.
It's not about the fine. It's not about maybe 3 days, 4 days, 1 week, 6 weeks. Because it's a maximum of 6 months. But the fact that once your name enters that register, you're an ex-convict.
You're a defaulter. You're a lawbreaker. Okay. And the conversation, we had to compare with the fact that while adults are being told to do the right thing, the authorities are allowing students, children, teenagers to go back to school. And from all indication and from reports across the country, this COVID-19 protocol is being flouted in our campuses.
Yeah, but Paul, you recall on one side, you recall that when we had the chairman of the Imo State COVID-19 Task Force, Professor Morrissey Wu, he said the case is more prevalent with the older ones compared to the children and probably the youths.
Okay.
You understand? That's on one side. And on that side, I know that in my daughter's school, it is mandatory. In fact, she takes her face mask every morning after putting on her uniform. That's mandatory.
That's a private school.
Yes.
Can we say that of public schools?
I think it's the same law according to the Commissioner for Education, Ikiwaha.
Yeah, but if you listen to the reporter who went to Imo State University, very few students were seen wearing the face mask. No. I don't know. Probably maybe the acting VC is still trying to find his bearing, because a lot of things are happening right now. School has been shut down for over 9 months, over 10 months. On one hand, the school needs to resume exams. Imo State University started exams yesterday. Right.
You understand? So maybe the pressure, I'm not talking on their behalf, but whatever it is, they need to get it right, because the population there is a very active population. They mingle and they move around. So all safety protocols need to be adhered to.
All right, this is where we open the phone lines to accommodate your call. You can call 0815-050-1073 to be part of this conversation. Why is it so difficult to comply with COVID-19 guidelines? It's one question I'm hoping we'll find an answer to.
And please, they shouldn't call to tell us they do not believe there is COVID-19.
But if you don't believe, tell us why. I mean, we have a governor in this country that insists that there's no COVID-19,
and he's been saying it everywhere, and he's been traveling everywhere.
Exactly. So let's take the calls. Good morning.
Good morning, Paul and Zandas.
Good morning.
I'm not having any service.
Hello.
This is Friday from River State.
Yes, you're live. Friday, go on.
Okay. Yes, the aspect of why are we not avoiding this COVID-19 pandemic task force aspect? See, that is something that's my Paul and Zandas. Many things are involved. Many things are involved. If I can tell you now, you go to off my ear. This government is full of lies. I remember when this COVID-19 coming for this country.
What are they lying about?
I remember when this COVID-19 coming for this country.
Okay.
They tell us that we have China, people from China, they're coming for this country to come and fight this COVID-19. Of which me and you don't know about it. Okay? That one go. Madagascar medicine, where is it? We spend a lot of money for Madagascar medicine. Till now, everything is fraud. Second one, this is the second pandemic now. The first one will happen for this country. Our big men, Dangote, donate many things, money, politics, some personnel, they bring up of things. Give our federal government, they give our people. They are there for hunger. This is everything, put everything in the warehouse. Secondly again, where you don't
those money they give some governors. See, if I talk about this community, why we refuse to follow this pandemic aspect? There's no good about them. Now, this second pandemic now I'm talking about now. Where is the medicine now? Say, we'll take it first, we'll start taking on our own. This is take on
Friday, do you wear face mask?
Paul Zandas. He asked me to wear which mask. Well, I said I want to go to bank, I want to draw money. That will make some of my face mask.
Okay.
My business aspect, I don't have any sanitizer, I don't even have washing. Customers say, if you want to come, that face mask, they're free.
Okay.
All
right. Let's chew on the questions. Let's chew on the questions you've asked. Very pertinent questions. Really, because if you look at the genesis of the way government has handled COVID-19, it has left many to actually doubt that the government is sincere. He asked about the monies donated to fight this pandemic. How has it been utilized? He talked about the Chinese men that came in to consult for a company here. We didn't know. We saw when they came in, but we didn't see when they left the country. All right, and then of course
the Madagascar drugs.
Right, the Madagascar drugs.
You know the truth about it is that the virus was novel to the world, and everybody was just grappling to see how they could manage and handle it. And because of that, probably yes, on the step of government, there was so much manhandling of or mishandling of information. You understand? And I keep saying it that the world has gone beyond where you hoard information from the people. You know, there are so many devices that catch information even on the air.
Right.
So you need to just come out straight and tell people what it is. This is yes.
Yeah.
Okay, look, for example, the Chinese that came into the country. At one point, they've come to help us. At another point, no, they came for their company. At another point, they came to treat Abakari. You know, there were so many issues around, and and when they were going, nobody told us. We don't even know if they've gone.
Yeah,
that's another thing.
Exactly. So
all
of this have fueled, the reason why a lot of people are just lackadaisical about compliance.
And it's possible, and that's why probably that might even be the reason why the Kogi state governor thinks he could be president. Because he gets ovation anywhere he says there's nothing like COVID-19. Kogi State is working, the economy, and even the economy was robust, while other economies in this in Nigeria were going comatose. Kogi was enjoying business and they were making money.
Let's listen to another caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Kinshima Okra, calling for Libby. Local government. Good morning, Paul and Zandas.
Good morning.
I hope you reflect our audience of the setting you got from Chifapa. I hope you got our own. I'm not bothering us with COVID-19.
Okay.
When you went there, did you put on your mask?
Well, yes.
On this issue of COVID-19,
yes, please go on.
We have gone the way of Nigeria. You see, when government creates distrust between them and the people they assume they are governing. And when Chinachebe said the true test of integrity is inability to be compromised. The presidency has compromised their integrity by the president not wearing face mask. You see what happened to Trump in America. The Americans rejected him because what he was saying, he was not acting. So they rejected him. But in Nigeria here, we are so gullible that with a little show of money, we follow them. Like one of the politicians there, we say, any jig in this, as if we are all acting by instinct. So what I'm trying to say in effect is that if it were in other tribes, the governor of Kogi said would have been sanctioned long ago if the federal government is serious about COVID-19. But then nothing has happened to the man, and they want a more plan in a way here to obey. I'm not a zombie. Thank you.
Okay. But if you say you're not a zombie and you fall into the trap of a law enforcement agent who decides to arrest you and prosecute you for not wearing your face mask, for example, are you going to be able to cite the Kogi State governor here as an example for why you are not wearing a face mask?
You can't cite Yahaya Bello or Kogi State. The thing here is a law is a law. Law is made for man and not man for law. That's what it is. So if government says you need to obey COVID-19 protocol, it dawns on everybody. And right now, it's gone beyond lip service. You know, before even the president signed it into law, you know, the presidential task force had been threatening that they might be forced to enforce the laws. You understand?
Not just the presidential task force, even our own government.
Yes, even
threatened to shut down.
Yes. In fact, I think the governor Hope Uzodinma, started the whole enforcement thing, because he said he went to Abuja to inform the president that he's going to start enforcing the law. But you know, people felt lip service and all of that. But right now, I just hope that with all this, we are not a zombie, or the fact that they've not handled information well. When the security agent starts enforcing the law, you won't start crime, you know. But yes, you know, that's what it is.
And you heard Orlando Okeke himself saying they are having a meeting as we speak.
This morning.
Yes, to decide how they are going to start enforcement. You don't want to be a scapegoat, I believe.
I know. Where is the epicenter?
Yeah. That's another scary news from Maurice Iwu. Okay. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Paul.
Good morning. Welcome to the People's Voice.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Zandas.
Good morning.
This is Chibundo speaking from MCC Roads.
Go on, sir.
Okay, I have two things to say. One, I listened to the reporter on what happened in Imo State University, have compliance. Last week, I heard that we hosted the Honorable Commissioner of Education here, where he said he had gone there. I had been saying it, that there was full compliance with what the reporter has said here. There is a violation. So who are we believing? The trumpeter, the Commissioner of Education. That is one. Secondly, I equally listen to Mr. Okeke. This final question I wanted you to ask him. What of the inmates in detention centers? Because the idea of the law is 50% capacity, not 50% per se. 50% capacity. Now, what is the capacity of the detainees in our cell centers? Are they going to be congested because they are part of the law? Yes. In as much as they are therefore they are not committed, they are still part of the law, they are still under the law. The law must be binding on them. So what happens to that? Then the last is the emphasis here should not be on people wearing face masks in the public places. The emphasis here should be orientation, because in this show of face mask, everybody here in the state has face masks, but they don't have the will or the enthusiasm to wear or make use of it. The moment they see the law enforcement officers, they start wearing it, but the moment they leave that particular thing, they remove it. So there is no orientation. And why do we have, or why don't we have this orientation? Because this share of distrust is still there. I made this emphasis the day you hosted Maurice here and the Director of National Education Agency, because the leadership, the citizen does not trust the leadership. That is the issue here.
Okay.
In as much as this trust is not there, the compliance will not be there. Without the real.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And if the compliance is not there, the question he asked, and which we had asked the police public relations officer, is do they have the capacity to accommodate all the defaulters that they are going to be arrested?
He even opened another scope for us there. Look at the correctional facilities, the prisons in Nigeria. You understand? How is COVID-19 protocol maintained there? You see, so it goes beyond government just coming up with laws. You know, government needs to be holistic in its approach for the people or the citizens to understand that this is serious, and the government is serious about it. You know, somebody on our Facebook page is asking that the government is telling us is coming up with a law, but the same government is telling us to go and register for NIN. Do you see the number of people that cluster for NIN registration? I think that's Ndubisi Okorie in one of his messages there. You know, so
you see, these are the issues before us, making a lot of people to actually distrust the intentions of the government,
and making people not to believe that COVID-19 is real.
Well, good thing you mentioned the NIN. We just quickly share that the dates for registration has been extended to April 6th, 2021.
April 6th?
Yes.
So people have enough time.
So you have enough time. It's no longer the February 9th.
But the Nigerians I know will not do anything from February 2nd till maybe 30th March. Then by 1st of April, we will jam pack that place again and start the whole government is not kind. They don't give us time.
Okay, since you took that message from Facebook, let's take some more from Facebook. We have Kenneth Igbokwe saying that no law should be enforced on ordinary citizens if the one who signed the law violated it with his aides, giving us flimsy reasons for his action. That's another issue.
Yes,
that is,
you see, that's a major one. It was a major talking point on social media.
Right.
You know, the president signing the law. You saw all the governors with their face masks, but Mr. President wasn't without a face mask. And somewhere just a PR or a stunt guy came from nowhere and said that picture was photoshopped.
Okay.
You know, and
all right. Moshe Chidi says there's no doubt that COVID-19 pandemic is real, but most people in Nigeria don't take it seriously because of the government's insincerity and apparent approach towards observing the guidelines. For example, the government was fully aware of the second wave of the COVID virus, but allowed people to cluster at various centers for NIN registration. Let's not also forget the turnout at the burial of Abakari and some other emirs in the north. All right, I'll take one more.
That's not only in the north, it's around Nigeria.
Yeah.
We keep going to burial ceremonies, wedding ceremonies and all of that, and people cluster. You understand? So
okay. Yeah. Beatrice Marcus says, good morning. The enforcement is a good idea, but police need to obey the guidelines too.
Yeah.
Have you been to the police stations?
I've not been to police stations, but I see them on the streets. And
no face mask.
No face mask.
You go to the police stations, no face masks.
So the IGP too. Well, I see the IGP. Police is always wearing the customized police face, and it looks good on him.
Yeah, it does.
You understand? So, but it needs to transcend down to the lower cadre, from his office straight down to the DPOs, to the officers and men of the police force.
You know, a man shared his experience on social media when he went to one of the police stations wearing face masks, and a lady at the counter said, "Our guy, remove that thing. COVID-19 not there for here."
Whoa!
So shared it on Twitter, and a lot of people were reacting. So the orientation, even
so that's COVID-19 is scared of
the police station. Let's take another call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Zandas, good morning.
Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
This is Kalu, Solomon Kalu from Odo Nakada.
Okay, Solomon Kalu, it's been a while.
Yeah. For me, I strongly believe that there's nothing like COVID-19. The federal government of Nigeria, they just want to use this avenue to extort more. Like during the first COVID-19 era last year, at Odo Nakada, they usually extort money from us. If they come to that down on battery, they will block us.
Hello. When you say they collect money,
hello?
Yes. When you say they collect, who is they? Who was collecting money?
Police. I take point. I think the old road is if you are coming back, some of them will come here and block. If you are not putting on face mask, they will collect 1,000 1,000 or 2,000 from us. For you. So this law, the president has just allowing it for them to start exporting money again from, okay, for example, this new legislation, they're supposed to register this national identity number for free. But go here and they're collecting money. The law they pass, is it the insecurity we are facing now and then? Is it a bad road we are facing? See our road here to the when we are facing our bank, we'll be soon to go to town.
So
is it the education? Is it the health? So everything as the government has been collapsed. They are quite disappointed with present APC government. I thought this law is saying that it's just for them to extort money from the citizens of Nigeria. What I'm telling you now.
Okay.
People will start complaining soon.
Well, Kalu, we need to stay healthy first. We need to be healthy before we talk about roads and other infrastructure.
Yeah, but when he doesn't even believe that there's a virus.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And then he is. I'm tempted to say right, but I think we saw it. The extortion that went on during the first lockdown.
Yes.
When police and other security agents were asked to enforce the law, and in his opinion, this is another avenue for security agents to make money.
And that's well, I feel punishment would be better instead of paying fine.
What kind of punishment?
Probably cut grass, pick the gutters, public works.
Okay.
So that it will not be extortion. By the time they disturb your day and you engage in one community service or the other, you understand, when you get home, you'll be forced to wear the mask. But if it's fine, people will accuse government of making money, or the government or the security agencies of making money, or the mobile courts. Then if it's maybe 3 days, 1 week, 6 weeks, 6 months detention, it might not really do much.
There's no space.
And there's no space.
So unfortunately, we can't even talk about punishment because the law has been signed. So it's an option of going to jail or paying the fine. Yeah, and when they ask you to pay a fine of 20,000, and you can get away if you drop 1,000 or 2,000 with the police officer that is arresting you,
and that goes to his own his own pocket.
Right. You know the option to take as a Nigerian. Hello. Good morning. Welcome. Please turn down the volume on your radio, sir. Yeah. Yes, better. Go on.
Okay. My name is Papa.
Where are you calling from?
I believe. Okay, I'm calling from Ebu.
Okay, go on.
I believe you guys have about the whole information about COVID-19 and stuff. I just want to ask a direct question to you guys. When one gets down with COVID-19, what happens after a month? Is the person die?
People have died.
People have recovered.
Yeah.
But the experience is not something you really want to experience.
Okay, why I ask that question, sir? Why are we not recording dead bodies? Why is COVID state not overflow?
Okay. Well, yes. Is that the question you want to ask? Yeah. Or do you have any other question? That's all. Okay. All right. Just keep listening. Let's take some commercials. Hopefully, someone listening will call from Kogi to tell us the situation there, because we're all here in Imo State. We can't categorically tell if people are dying or not. If
people are actually dying of COVID-19
in Kogi,
in the world.
Yeah. Right.
Nigeria inclusive.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay. But let's take some commercials. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
FM 107.3.
In accordance with the Nigeria Communications Commission, NCC's mandate to link every phone number to the user's national identification number, NIN, 9 Mobile as your network of choice is making the exercise nice and easy. Simply dial star 996 hash, verify and link your NIN. Better still, you can visit www.9mobile.com.ng/NIN to do the same. Remember, the stitching time saves all the 9Mobile benefits you've always enjoyed, so hurry now.
Make your life better with BBC News Pidgin. To get better for this world, you suppose know wetin dey. Make better tori ginger you from your domot to the whole world, because when you see every for the world, anything dey possible. Make your life better. Search for BBC News Pidgin.
Darling FM 107.3.
Okay, so it's a fact that people are dying of COVID-19. It's also a fact that people are recovering from COVID-19.
Yeah.
However, our caller Pablo wants to know if there are dead bodies littered everywhere in Kogi State. Perhaps that's the only reason he would believe that there's COVID-19 in Nigeria. But you know, the focus is, regardless of whether you believe or not, there is now a law in place giving police and security agents the right to arrest you. So
if you do not adhere to
adhere to the COVID-19 guidelines. So how do you intend to navigate this? You who still don't believe that there's COVID-19. All right, that's one question I would like for you to answer. Okay, let's take some more calls. Good morning.
Good morning, my good friend in the studio. Good morning, our good friend Zina. My neighbor of course is Tijubu Waja that we usually call from Ndochizog in Imo State. Well, I want to first of all begin by commending Mr. President and even our dear governor for putting in place a law that will make it punishable for offenders of this COVID-19 order. You see, sometimes I begin to wonder what is even in the minds of people. For instance, even if you go to some of our churches, you discover that people are becoming very lackadaisical in putting on things like face mask, maintaining social distancing. And you want to ask yourself why this should be so in the first instance. Does it mean that even those people who have not even seen people who are suffering from this disease, are they not both in Nigeria and then what is happening in advanced countries? It is the special grace of God that we are still living. So my position is that let it not be that these laws and maybe others are put in place. Let there be an effective enforcement mechanism that will ensure that whoever or maybe runs counter to this law will be punished exceedingly. Not just maybe collecting fine for them. When the person goes to jail, serve at the time and do that. Because when you are running counter to this order, all you have been doing is you are not just affecting yourself, but maybe putting the life of innocent Nigerians at risk, which is rather unfortunate. So my position is that those who are thinking that there is no such thing are either being naive or mighty, because they don't seem to understand what is happening in this country. Even when people like us put on face masks and go along the street, people laugh at us and say, look at what he's doing. And seem to say that it's not you are doing something that falls counter the law, which is unfortunate. So leaders of faith organizations, traditional NGOs should actually use media houses like Zandas FM or Darling FM to make sure that they teach the people, to obey this law, who claim against Africa, because at the end of the day, it's going to be for the overall benefit.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and God bless you.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, while Chief Jude was speaking, I had to do a quick research on the state of things in Kogi, and there's this interesting investigation that I think you can check out. It's titled "What's Killing Them in Kogi? Unexplained Deaths Rise, Fueling COVID-19 Scare." All right, and this was published June 16 of 2020. You might want to Google it and read it. The investigators said doctors there attested to the fact that people are dying. He said he went to 3 villages where the villagers said that people have been dying of mysterious death. That's what they said, mysterious death. They don't know what is killing their people, and that is because the state is not testing to ascertain the cause of death. So when the people die, they just take them and bury them. So
what about the doctors? Are the doctors not looking at symptoms?
You know,
they shouldn't just confirm mysterious deaths.
It's not just whether they are looking. He said they actually, the medical personnel there actually attempted to protest, to call the attention of media to their plight, but policemen were sent to disrupt the protest, and threats were issued by the Kogi state government.
And the government seems to be enjoying followership because of his stance. I don't know.
Okay, so that's information right there on the internet, on your phone,
with pictures to back it up.
Exactly.
So.
Right. Okay. So, can we squeeze in
one more call?
One more call won't hurt. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
My name is Mr. Emmanuel. I'm calling from Workdale.
All right. Go on quickly.
I just want to tell people, anybody who says they have had COVID has given you stone to eat instead of bread. They are with COVID. My friend is suffering from it in Okeke State as I'm talking to you now.
Okay.
Then as yesterday I spoke with him, he told me how he's like feeling. But one thing that a doctor has come to his rescue now in Okeke State.
Okay.
So that's anything I want to tell people that it's really COVID.
Thank you.
COVID is a system in Nigeria. People should stop making us say there's no COVID.
All right.
Actually, there are ways in Nigeria.
Thank you.
Thank you
for calling to share. Yeah.
His friend in Kogi is suffering from it.
And of course, it would make headline or the news because
the government of Kogi believes nothing like that is existing in the states. Okay.
So there you have it. This is the much we can have on this conversation. The focus really is to remind you that you don't want to be a victim of
government's laws, enforcement. Yeah.
Right. You want to go out there with your face mask and wear it. Don't leave it in your pocket.
Don't put it in your pocket or your bag. I mean, in the FCT, a lot of people that were arrested yesterday had it in their pocket. Immediately the task force climbs them, they bring it out and want to wear, and they bundle them into. It's too late. Right. So once you're in a crowded place, an open place, wear your face mask. If you're going into the mall, shop, not only the banks, because I see a lot of people buy face masks at the bank. And after they finish their business in the bank, they put it back in their pocket. Please wear it all the time.
All the time. Thank you. I am Paul the Magician.
And I'm Zandas, Okeke.
Stay tuned for the news headlines at 10. Good morning.